Hey, welcome back to Next Play Records. I'm Andy, and today's video is a special one. It's going to be a part one of probably 6 or 7 parts. And as you could tell from the title, I'm going to go through my whole current Blue Note collection. I'm going to start today with all my 45 RPM audiophile pressings. That would be the Analogue Productions from the 2009 to 2012 years. And then my Music Matters Jazz, which is from that time, 2012 to 2017. And these are the prized possessions in my Blue Note collection. So I wanted to start it off with a big hitter. And I'm going to go with Analogue Productions. So I'm going to go through the Analogue Productions in alphabetical order. Then I'm going to go through Music Matters in alphabetical order. And then part 2, we'll move on to like my Tone Poets. Part 3, 4, 5, 6, we'll just go through the rest of my Blue Note collections, whether they're OGs or early reissues or other reissues, 75th, 80th, or classic vinyl series reissues, twofers, all the great stuff that is filed alphabetically underneath these first 3 sections. But today, Analogue Productions, Audiophile, and Music Matters Jazz, my Blue Note collection. I'm kind of using this, to be honest, whenever I post a Blue Note video only or a Tone Poet video only, and I assume Music Matters being in the title is going to help. I'm kind of using this as a little push to 500 also, because I mean that's the main thing in my collection. I think a lot of people that like my channel come to my channel because I do show great Blue Note records. So that's going to be my, rather than do a contest, I'm going to do some Blue Note videos here. As I said, a 7-part. First part is a big one today. The Analogue Productions and Music Matters Blue Notes in my collection, okay? All of these except for one are double LP, 45 RPM. And let's get started. The first one I have is Paul Chambers, Whims of Chambers. This is the Paul Chambers Sextet. What a lineup on here. This is Analogue Productions. This is Donald Byrd, John Coltrane, Kenny Burrell, Horace Silver, Philly Joe Jones with Paul Chambers. That's one of the best lineups that you ever see. And this is this one is not as good of a session as you would expect with this roster, to be honest with you. I don't want to spend too much time on each record or this video will be long, but it's good. I don't think the songwriting on here is great, but the playing on it is obviously, you got some younger guys here in the, I think 57 is when this session was. So they're not completely in their own yet, but it is a great session. But you would expect it to be a little bit tighter, in my opinion. But awesome, so happy to have it. And I bought all of these before. I bought all of these audiophile pressings before they were out of stock, so I got them for a very fair price, and they've more than doubled in value since I bought them over the last 3 years. So there you go. That's my first one. Sorry, I'm gonna put these so they'll be easier to file when I get done with this video. Next one I have is Lou Donaldson's Blues Walk. This is one of the most beautiful albums in my collection. The sounding, just how it sounds, obviously 45 RPM from Analogue Productions back in the day. They were terrific. This was stereo, Blues Walk, unbelievable, beautiful album. That's number 2. Next one I have is Kenny Dorham, Analogue Productions, double 45, Whistle Stop. What a lineup on here. Kenny Dorham, Hank Mobley, Kenny Drew, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones. Love this session. 1960, I believe. Obviously, you see a lot of Kenny Dorham with Kenny Drew, but I love having Hank Mobley added in with this little roster of musicians. Great session. The next one I have for the Analogue Production is Dexter Gordon, Dexter Calling. Love this cover. Again, you can see the lineups on here are going to be terrific, but we'll go through them. Dexter Gordon, Kenny Drew, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones. Great session. This was in Dexter Gordon's legendary run with Blue Note, where he had 6 or 7 sessions that are all fire. I'd put it up against anybody's, even Lee Morgan's first 5 or 6. I believe Dexter Gordon's run during this time is even better than that. I might do a video on that another time, but there you go. There's another Analogue Productions. Next one I have, Hootin' and Tootin' from Fred Jackson. Got this one for an awesome deal. Made an offer on it, Discogs, before all these started raising in price big time. But Hootin' Tootin', Fred Jackson on the sax, Earl Van Dyke on the organ, Willie Jones on the guitar, Wilbert Hogan on the drums. So a little lesser known lineup, but Fred Jackson and Earl Van Dyke on the organ here go awesome together. Hootin' and Tootin'. It's a fun album. Couple of good ballads as well. Next, Analogue Productions, and the only one that's not a double 45. This is the 33 RPM Analogue Productions of Hank Mobley's Roll Call. One of the best sessions in Blue Note history, in my opinion. Art Blakey, Freddie Hubbard, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers with Hank Mobley. Unbelievable. Another string of sessions that would rival Dexter Gordon's 6 would be Hank Mobley's during this time. Next Analogue production I have is Lee Morgan Leeway. This one had tripled or quadrupled in value over the last couple of years. Quadrupled from what I paid for it. So happy to have this. This is one of the first ones they did, acoustic mastering. Kevin Gray, Steve Hoffman. All these are Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman. But Lee Morgan, Jackie McLean, Bobby Timmons, Paul Chambers, and Art Blakey. This is one of my favorite Lee Morgan albums, Leeway. Next Analogue Productions I have is John Patton. Along Came John on the organ. Again, early 2009, probably acoustic pressing, Kevin Gray. But you have Fred Jackson, who we just had on Hootin' Tootin'. Fred Jackson on the tenor sax, Harold Vick on the tenor sax, Grant Green on the guitar, Ben Dixon on the drums with John Patton's organ. Love it. This one's a very gospel soul jazz session, as you can expect. Next Analogue Productions is a killer. This one has jumped in value. My favorite bossa nova by far, soul samba, Ike Quebec, bossa nova soul samba. So Ike Quebec on the sax, Kenny Burrell on the guitar, Willie Bobo on the drums, Wendell Marshall on the bass, and Garvin Massou on the checkeri. So some vibes. But this is a killer. So stream this if you don't have it. It's really hard to find a pressing of this. I was so happy to get this for Christmas a few years ago, right before it went out of stock on Analogue Productions website. Couple more Analogue Productions. This is Ike Quebec. It might as well be spring. This is one I was on the hunt for a long time. I love this one. Mostly ballads, just beautiful playing by Ike Quebec. Freddie Roach on the organ, Milton Hinton, Al Harewood. So most people probably know this is one of his most popular sessions. Love the cover. 45 RPM. They sound unbelievable on my very basic but good quality system. As I upgrade, I'm going to have these killers to be able to enjoy on even a better system. But here we go again. Blowing the Blues Away, the Horace Silver Quintet and Trio. First half of it, I think, is the quintet. You've got Blue Mitchell on the trumpet, Junior Cook on the sax, Horace Silver on the piano, Eugene Taylor on the bass, and Louis Hayes on the drums. Blowing the Blues Away. Very good session. The trio song on here, Melancholy Mood. Perfect. So look that up if you don't have it. And that is all of my Analogue Productions. The next I'll show after I gather that stack is the Music Matters Jazz. Okay, got my stack of Music Matters. Every single one of these, double LP, 45 RPM, audiophile. Kevin Gray just does a terrific job. And I would rival these against any of the OGs that I've heard. Now, I haven't heard them all, but just the equipment they had, the fact that they wanted it to be true to the sound of the session on the tapes. But there's something special about OG, so it doesn't mean I won't ever turn down getting an OG. But I'm very happy to have these Music Matters pressings because they are about as good quality as you can get. And obviously the Tone Poets nowadays are just as good. We won't ever get to compare them because they're probably not going to do that duo of Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman. They're not going to do these same ones for the Tone Poets. So we won't be able to compare them to that. So let's get started. Tina Brooks, back to the tracks. This was actually the first Music Matters I ever bought. Blue Mitchell, Kenny Drew, Paul Chambers, Art Taylor. Unbelievable lineup. Unbelievable session. And I've got to show these inner gatefolds or it wouldn't be true to Music Matters. Love these photos. Good quality. As good as it gets. All right, next we have Donald Byrd, the Catwalk. I bought this one on the Music Matters site when it was like $34.95, which is a steal. It's valued at $100 or more now. But the Catwalk, I love Pepper Adams with Donald Byrd. I've said that numerous times. But Pepper Adams, Duke Pearson, Layman Jackson, Philly Joe Jones. What a session. 2 LP, 45 RPM. I'll pick and choose what inner gatefold photos I show. But Sonny's Crib, another killer lineup. Anytime you've got John Coltrane on a Blue Note session, you're happy about it. Donald Byrd is on here. Curtis Fuller, John Coltrane, Paul Chambers, Art Taylor with Sonny Clark. This is one of my favorites. We'll show some pictures from this one. We have great pictures right here of Sonny writing some music. And then you've got Coltrane, Fuller, Pearson, Sonny Clark again. Just love these. This one is numbered. Some of them are numbered. I think they numbered the first 1,000 of the 2,500 limited editions that they did. Next one I have is, what was that? Okay. Next one I have is another Sonny Clark, Leapin' and Lopin'. Great session. Tommy Turrentine with Charlie Rouse, Butch Warren, Billy Higgins. Sneaker lineup. Because you don't have any huge names, in my opinion, huge names, comparably to like your Coltrane, your Mobley, your Morgan. None of those guys on here. But Leapin' and Lopin' is one of his best sessions. Just love every song on here. We're going to look at the photos here too. Sonny Clark again. There's our guys. And there's the back. Again, I got a numbered one. 724 out of 2,500. So, awesome Music Matters pressing there. Next one I have is Joe Henderson, Our Thing. One of my favorites in all of my record collection here. Love Joe Henderson on here with Kenny Dorham, Andrew Hill, Eddie Kahn, Pete LaRocca. I've shown this one a couple times, so I won't break it out of the sleeve, but let y'all look at the hype stickers of these Music Matters. Love that record. Next one I have is the magnificent Thad Jones. This one made my top 5 jazz albums. So this, again, like Our Thing, is one of my absolute favorite records in my whole collection. Again, got us a nice hype sticker. Thad Jones kills it on here with Billy Mitchell on the sax, Barry Harris on the piano, Percy Heath on the bass, and Max Roach. This one's a late 50s session where Max Roach was still going with Blue Note with Thad Jones as well. So awesome record. Next 45 RPM I have is Cliff Jordan's Cliffcraft. This one was also a great price on the site when I got it, and now it's shot up in value because it's out of stock, I believe. But Blue Note 1582. Great lineup. Art Farmer on the trumpet. Cliff Jordan on the sax. Sonny Clark on the piano. George Tucker on the bass, and Louis Hayes on the drums. So I got this one when I was making sure I got a bunch of the Sonny Clark albums. Even when he was a sideman, I just love his piano playing, his style. So Cliffcraft. We got a few more guys. Hank Mobley Quintet. This is 1550 classic cover. Just spun this the other day. Absolutely love it. It's perfection. There's the back of it. You've got Art Farmer, Hank Mobley, Horace Silver, Doug Watkins, Art Blakey. Let's show some photos on this one as well. There's Silver and Mobley. There's the rest of the lineup here. Art Farmer, Silver again, Doug Watkins. Love him on the bass. So there you go. Got some more Hank Mobley coming. Hank Mobley. So this is the This is the Sextet, Hank Mobley Sextet, and one of the coolest covers in all of Blue Note. Again, my hype sticker for the Music Matters. Bill Hardiman on the trumpet. Don't see him a lot. Curtis Porter on the sax he did some alto sax when Hank Mobley's on the tenor sax. Sonny Clark again on the piano. Paul Chambers on the bass. Art Taylor on the drums. Love this record. This is one of the best ones as well. I could say that how many times? We're lucky to have Blue Note still around for us, accessible Blue Note jazz. All my life up to the last 3 years, I missed out on it, but I am indulging on the talent that was in Blue Note as we speak. So, big part of my record collection. Music Matters, double 45, Hank Mobley, Sextet. Next one I have, let's move on to one of the best and most popular jazz musicians ever, Lee Morgan. Tomcat, again, one of my best albums in my whole collection. This one is killer. It's unbelievable. Jackie McLean on the sax, Curtis Fuller on the trombone, McCoy Tyner on the piano, Bob Cranshaw on the bass, and Art Blakey on the drums, hyping it up. Not numbered, so this one must be beyond the 1,000 that they numbered, but Lee Morgan kills it. Great cover. Hard to find session. They did the 80th, I'm sorry, not 80th, like a 1980 pressing for this, and a Japanese maybe, but it didn't originally come out. So there's Lee Morgan, Tyner, McLean, Blakey. Look at that. Cranshaw. The song Exotique is unbelievable. If you haven't heard this session, just look up Exotique by Lee Morgan. Exotique. I'm gonna let you look at it again. Check it out. You will love it. Unbelievable session. Unbelievable record. Next we have J.R. Have this out of order. J.R. Monteros played this one not too long ago too. Awesome sleeper session with Ira Sullivan, Horace Silver, Wilbur Ware, Philly Joe Jones. I actually was on Facebook today and saw an Ira Sullivan fan page, and his son is what it looks like. Also plays jazz music, but he's a guitarist and he can shred. So I'd have to go look at his name again, but it was Ira Sullivan's son. Still playing jazz music in a more electric guitar way. Good stuff. But anyway, J.R. Monteros. This is also a pretty rare session, 1536. Awesome music. This was a late 50s release as well, and awesome session. How many times am I gonna say awesome? We got a few more. More Lee Morgan's coming. Lee Morgan, indeed. Good session. Jumped in value also when I got it when it's still in stock. Got me a numbered one there. 712 out of the 1,000, but 2,500 total. Again, killer lineup. Lee Morgan, Clarence Sharp on the alto sax, Horace Silver on the piano, Wilbur Ware on the bass, Philly Joe Jones. Lee Morgan indeed. That is Blue Note 1538. Next Lee Morgan I have is Candy. Only horn on the session. He's like 19 years old. Blue Note 1590. Lee Morgan, Sonny Clark, Doug Watkins, and Art Taylor. This again, one of my favorites. If I had to pick a top 5 Music Matters, this would make it. Candy, awesome song. Who Do You Love? I Hope. Personality, just kills it. What a lineup. Let's look at the pictures on this one. We have cool picture of Lee Morgan. The rest of the line, I think they've reused that picture here. But there you go. Take a look. There's Sonny Clark down there. Love that one. Art Taylor, Doug Watkins. And my last Music Matters is a killer session. Sonny Rollins, Nukes Time. This again is doubled, tripled in value. So pretty happy that I was able to get them before they got ridiculously overpriced that you'll see on Discogs. But happy to get this one. This one was one of the higher price ones when I got it. Maybe $64.95. But Nukes Time, Sonny Rollins. Sometimes I'll put the one of the discs on the outside and one on the inside. So basically what I'll do a lot of times for storage is I'll take the front gatefold. Let's take it out. Might as well talk about that while we're here. I think we're staying under 20 minutes. And this is the last one. So a lot of times I'll take the record from the front. So disc 1, I'll take it out so we don't get any kind of ring wear or anything as it's stored. I'll take it out. I'll leave the second one back here, and then I'll store the first LP on the back like you would normally store them outside the jacket. So instead of both, it gets a little tight in there when you try to store both back there. But Sonny Rollins, Nuke's Time. Most of y'all know this one, Blue Note 4001. Sonny Rollins on the sax, Wynton Kelly on the piano, Doug Watkins on the bass, Philly Joe Jones on the drums. Unbelievable session. Cool cover photo. Sonny Rollins. Not a ton of Blue Note sessions, but this is one of his best. Philly Joe Jones, cool looking drummer right there. Love it. So that is my 45 RPM audiophile collection of Blue Note, Analogue Productions, and Music Matters Jazz. So I hope you enjoyed that. Look for part 2 coming with all my tone poets. Part 3, we'll get into the rest of the reissues and OGs and early reissues of my Blue Note collection. So I appreciate you tuning in. Help me push to 500. Till next time, keep spinning that next play.